Any old crow can wield a bow, but it takes a cocky to be his own disc jockey.
The big thing each week was Saturday Arvo at the Pictures.
A dog and cocky that know the ropes. No wonder the other birds call Barney the pulsating parrot. Others say he's just a big galah.
It's a shilling to get in and sixpence to spend. And then I had a boyfriend called Les, and he'd say, come and sit next to me and I'll buy you sixpence worth of lollies. Now, this was sort of like a fortune. I didn't like Les much, but I liked the lollies. So I think I would sit next to him.
Yes, and the terrible handed creep across the picture. Do you remember that? That's the one you'd feel this.
Yeah.
You'd freeze there. You'd have an aching shoulder by the end because you'd sort of sit like this while the hands got a man's way.
Now, the other thing, the awful thing was when you had your arm round the girl and you thought, well, I can't take it away because, you know, I'll never get it back or I'll look unfriendly, and it's really beginning to ache and the blood supply's cut off and you can't move
The American assault on our consciousness intensified with the advent of rock and roll. As baby boomers, we welcomed rock and roll, even if we were too young to take part as a teenage craze. We left that to our older brothers and sisters, who tried hard to act like Americans.
Johnny is a joker, he's a bird, a very funny joker, he's a bird, but when he chokes my honey, he's a dog, his joking ain't so funny, what a dog. Johnny is a joker that's a trying to steal my baby, he's a bird dog. Hey bird dog, get away from my quail. Hey,
But the fashions and music were surface things. Despite this powerful new influence, the 50s still felt innocent. We still thought like Australians. The thing that really made a difference came at first like a strange new toy: television.
TV Channel 9 is the call sign of General Television Corporation Proprietary Limited and will soon be the call sign for the top entertainment in Australian television.
Come on, everybody, it's time to rock. Well, it's stop and let's rock. Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Hi, once again, and welcome to 6 o'clock rock. Got a twinkle in your eye and a way to hypnotize. Makes me want to hold you tight. I want to make some love tonight. Whoa, don't ever, ever, ever be my sight. Yeah, you excite me.
We were so poor. We were so poor that we didn't even know people who had television, did we?
on the radio. They said, if you can tell us what the next song is, you win a free TV aerial.
This is terrible.
And they played Red River Rock, which I think was #1, and everybody knew it. But I quickly rang up, and they said, yes, right, OK, all you've got to do is go to... It was some shonky TV sales place in Newtown.
Burwood.
Yeah, we had to get a train and we went all the way
Stephen and I went on the train.
And they said, well, look, you're not here on the books. Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes. And they searched everywhere and they were trying to be very helpful. And then I realised about halfway through this that if you rang up and got this and bought a TV, you'd get a free aerial. Oh. But you had to buy the TV. Oh. And so suddenly I started... And we just kept talking and saying, oh, yes, oh, no, we did. And they said, but have you bought the TV? Oh, yes, we bought the TV. They said, but we've got no record. Oh, yes, we did. And they didn't have the heart, so they gave us this TV aerial. And we came...
Is it one of those
curly ones?
Once you sit on top of the
Came all the way home, and we didn't have a TV. But we had this aerial, and I was so proud of it.
Now, what do you say, customers? $300. What do you want to do there, Patricia?
Take the box.
BP Australia presents Pick a Box. And your host, Bob Dyer.
Thank you, and howdy, customers, howdy. We're glad you joined us for BP Pick a Box. Who is this, please, doll?
Bob, this is Barry Jones from Caulfield, a school teacher.
Oh, Barry. All right, are you ready now?
Your score is 3 out of 5. Who was the father of the 2 little princes said to have been murdered in the Tower of London?
The father was Edward IV.
That is correct.
I can remember the Zorro song, and it confused me for years because I used to think it was out of the night when the full moon is bright comes a man on a horse named Zorro. How come Zorro has a horse named Zorro?
M-I-C-K-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Who did you have the hots for? Sharon.
No, Annette.
Annette.
I like Annette.
Darlene.
Yeah.
Darlene.
Darlene was the best.
Jimmy was great.
I didn't have the hots for Jimmy.
Excuse me. What sold you on Omo in the first place? Well, as I just said, brightness and whiteness. Isn't white just another word for bright? No. Brightness is something extra. You're really sold on Omo, aren't you? But you're a bright white lady. That's right.
77 strip.
Yes.
That's right. Cookie. I had a cookie jacket with the little pocket where you put your comb in. And I was always but the trouble was, with Spruso on my hair, the little comb pocket got dirtier and greasier and browner, and it was all oil dripping down and for involving.
Who was the woman in 77?
Connie
Stevens.
Connie Stevens.
That's right.
And we used to always try and match the lipstick colour.
That's right.
Because she always had an article in one of the teeny bop magazines that said you mix this colour with this colour with that Vaseline with this Johnson's baby oil or whatever, and you got that colour. You go, splatter, splatter, and it never looked the same. Apart from the fact that you weren't able to talk. You had to
Ben Sanders, the greatest program. Brian Henderson, just fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, and welcome to our friends right round Australia.
The people who danced on Bandstand were the well-groomed, nice young people our parents wanted us to be. Not the wild rockers of 6 o'clock rock they feared we'd become.
At about this age, the girl grows more rapidly than the boy. By 12 or 13, the average girl is taller and heavier than the boy, and she looks more mature. These differences and the fact that girls usually mature earlier than boys, both physically and emotionally, sometimes create problems. But by the time boys and girls reach their late teens, these problems will have been solved.
I found a new love. She is a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my life. I had an old love. She was a cold love. But I found a new love.
I remember when surfboards came in, I actually got myself a blue check gingham bikini and my brother got himself a surfboard. All of a sudden, I couldn't be a little girl anymore out there on my float catching waves with the boys. Suddenly, I was an older girl and I had to sit in the sand and worry about whether my breasts were big enough and whether my towel was the trendy sort, and really sit there and look at the boys.
I was so insecure and so shy. I don't know. And also, my peers, I wanted to be more like them, I think.
It was a really hard time, but I didn't realise. I don't remember being unhappy or anything like that. Being aware I was unhappy.
I remember being desperately unhappy. It's the only time in my life I've ever actually thought of killing myself. I mean, being serious for a second, just because I felt really lonely and like I didn't fit anywhere.
Everybody's talking about a new way of walking. Do you want to lose your mind? Walk right in, sit right down.
The early teens seemed fraught with bother. We horsed around, but the fun and games sometimes felt like a desperate cover for alarming new feelings. Irrational resentments welled up towards the opposite sex. Why couldn't girls and boys go on being mates? The only option seemed to behave like a lunatic.
Mary is 13. She's growing up from a child into a woman. Various changes are taking place in her. To understand them, we must start at the beginning of the story. In the farmyard, you can see how baby chicks grow into pullets and cockerels, which before long become adult fowls. How calves become heifers, and heifers grow up into cows. It's the same with humans.
Because Mother knows that there are some people in this world. We think they are sick people, really, but they wait about for little boys and little girls too. And they want to have a poke at these important parts of our body that we've been learning about tonight. Do you know they've got a big name? They're called the reproductive organs. You can say it, can't you? Say it with me, girls. The reproductive organs. Good girls. They're the very special parts of our body we've been learning about tonight. There are some people who want to have a poke at them.
Here is a diagram of the male reproductive mechanism. The external glands, or testes, produce the spermatozoa, or sex cells, which are necessary for human reproduction.
I don't think that I ever put the picture together, you know, that they were actually talking about men and women and doing sex and, you know, creating babies and stuff like that, because you never saw anything. You never saw even a silhouette of a male nude and a female nude. Never a real person. It had only been outline drawing. And then it would move into these gynecological drawings of the uterus, and that didn't mean anything to me. I mean, I didn't have one of those, particularly not in graphics.
Moving into the tube.
Now, we don't let anybody touch anywhere near these special parts of our body. Now we know how important they are. And the only people we let touch them are Mother or the doctor. I wonder if any of you girls have ever had a boil where you couldn't sit down. Well, if you had, then it would be very close to these reproductive organs that we've been talking about tonight.
During the period, sanitary pads must be worn to prevent soiling clothes. More pads are needed at the beginning of the period than towards the end. It's important to wash often during the period. You can have a bath, though not a cold one, as you don't want to catch a chill.
The film said that if you had showers that weren't just the right temperature, you could have big problems with your periods. And I can remember the lady blue because the water was too cold, having these terrible problems with the periods, and then a red